Nathan's gonna be on.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi, Mike.
Hi.
We see the double mic, but we don't see Nathan. Is Nathan coming on tonight?
Let me get rid of one of mine.
You got a twin?
Nathan's too busy.
Meeting didn't start yet, and at 1 minute, I started another one, thinking maybe it just went wrong. So,
Oh. All right. Have fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, 5 o'clock.
All right, we'll call our meeting to order.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. We have a long agenda tonight, but dive right in with approval of the minutes from the last meeting.
I've had a chance to read them over if, and I would approve them.
And then I read through them and I'll make the second.
All right, we have a motion from Gary, second by Ruth. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
I,
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We'll move on to the vouchers.
do we sign it? We found you. It's this one.
The signature page is over there.
Bring this to payroll and bills is always so small.
Yeah, no kidding.
We'll make up for it next
Right.
time.
Look for a motion for the approval of the vouchers as soon as one of you two are ready.
I so move.
I'll second that.
Uh, Motion from Gary and a second by Ruth. Any discussion? Say they're rather short, things that were such early in the month there. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Correspondence, we had none. Citizen comments, did anybody end up signing up to talk then, or? I don't think so. Okay. We'll move on to old business and lawn care. It sounds like with, little texting with Josh that they're more than happy to just keep doing it.
Right.
And
Yeah,
I'm okay with that.
I'm okay with that, but I just want to remind those that, you know, the poor lawn care that we had the last time we hired a part-timer. We didn't even interview for that position at that time. We just took the recommendations from a grandma
Oh,
and it did not turn out well. So we keep going back to, well, it didn't work very well. But as long as the guys are ready, willing to do the landscaping along with the lawn care, you know, cleaning up the shrubbery, cleaning up the sign as we enter town and the industrial park, I have no problem with the road crew continuing with lawn care. Might be something we want to think about though for future.
very good. So we'll move on to new business. Abdu audit financial statement presentation.
Great. Good evening. My name is Bonnie. I'm going to go through the audit results with everybody. I'm going to share my screen and pull up the audit presentation here. And I believe also Tiffany provided in the packet. So I'm going to go through the summary presentation of the audit results. And if you have questions on the more detailed audit report, we can go into those as well. If anything comes up as I'm going through my short overview here, please feel free to stop me and we can touch on it. And I will get started here with our audit opinion letters on page 3 of the presentation. We do have 2 different opinion letters within your financial statements. The first one is the independent auditor's report that is required by state statute. We do provide an unmodified and then also a qualified opinion within on your financial statements. Essentially what that means is that we were able to obtain all of our audit evidence. We did not run into any significant issues. We did not find anything that was materially wrong within your financial information that exists within your accounting software. Everything was in good order. We do have a qualified opinion on a certain piece of your financial information. There's some fire relief information that's not presented within your financial statements, results in a qualified opinion. That will be changing really soon with the switch over from the current fire relief pension accounting to them being included on the state plan. So pretty soon we'll be able to take that qualified opinion out of there. Not a huge deal, but just worth noting that those 2 different opinions do exist. Again, nothing to be concerned about. Overall, really clean audit. We also issue a compliance letter with Minnesota state statutes, and we did not find any issues of non-compliance. There's a lot of different compliance requirements that the township has to go through, and we look at how you award contracts and do your council meetings, pay your bills, things like that. And again, no issues. So a really clean year overall from an audit perspective. We do have 2 internal control findings within the report. These are nothing new, same as what you've experienced in the past. The first one is preparation of financial statements. We prepare your financial statements. That's really common for a town of your size. We do it for most of the local governments that we work with, but there is a little bit of risk there. So it's important to know that even though you have an outside third party prepare your financial statements, they are a part of your internal control structure. Really important to take responsibility for those. And then we also have limited segregation of duties, internal control finding. Again, nothing new, but something to be aware of, that because of the small number of staff that work at the town, there's a chance that something could go wrong. Not enough people looking at stuff in an ideal control environment. So it's really important that you all take your responsibilities over reviewing bills and things like that very seriously, which I know that you do. So those are our audit results. I'm going to go into some of the financial information. So we have a few slides in here that show you the financial results, looking at some of the past years to compare. And this first one is looking at your general fund, so your main operating funds, and what is in your Indian reserves compared to your budget, and how has that changed over the last few years. So you can see 2025, you have about 100% in your operating funds compared to last year you had very similar, about 104% compared to that budget amount. So that's really good, healthy fund balance, something to think about as far as what are the plans for that fund balance as far as capital improvements and what you really need for your operating versus some of the other areas of the city. And then looking at what you had budgeted versus where you ended up. So your revenues were very close to what you had expected for 2025. Expenses were lower in your operating budgets compared to what you actually experienced. And so you can see there that the expenses were about 100,000 less. Most of that was in wage costs. So the wages that you budgeted were about a significant amount less than, or the wage costs that you had were a significant amount less than what you had budgeted. So overall, your operating funds did increase about 60,000 compared to last year. And then looking at your general fund revenues, so where you bring in the revenues to support your operating funds, you can see here some of your bigger buckets: property taxes, permit revenue. Intergovernmental would include any township aid, any county aid that's coming through. And then you can see that other category includes any just a small amount of things like interest earnings or any refunds and reimbursements, contributions, things like that. Looking at your spending for the last 3 years, your operating spending broken out into these different buckets. You can see the general government had the most significant changes over the last 3 years. And most of that is due to the shift in the clerk position, with having a couple of overlapping people at one time, using contracted services, and just some changes within how that position has been staffed, and then also some gaps in that staffing as well, has led to some variation in the amount of funds that are being spent within your general government area. And then there's a few other funds that are separate from your operating funds. So there's the Road and Bridge Fund. There's a fire fund that has some funds set aside specifically for some fire activities. And then you also have just a general capital project fund that funds your capital improvement plan. And then here's a quick look at your sewer fund. And so the sewer fund, it should be able to support itself. And so what we want to see there on the top chart is looking at the receipts compared to your disbursements. And are you able to bring in more receipts than what your costs are, so you can build up some cash balances within that fund to pay for any sewer improvements that might be needed. And this year, the cash balances on the bottom chart, you can see that the operating cash did increase, and you also have some bond proceeds left. The bond that was issued for the Randall Avenue project, you can see that there's some money left of that bond still. So I just wanted to make sure to call that out separate there from the operating unrestricted cash that's remaining. And then these are the members of your audit team. So myself, Hannah, who's worked on your audit for the last couple of years, Jacob, and then Joseph as well. And I would love to take any questions that you might have.
Nicely done. Thank you.
No questions for me, Bonnie.
All right, that's great. Well, let me know if you guys do think of anything. You can always reach out to us, and we appreciate working with the town. And thank you to Tiffany for working so great to get us all completed and wrapped up, and just amazing job during the audit. So thanks, you guys.
Thank you,
Thank
Bonnie.
you.
And Tiffany, thank you.
Yeah, I
Yes,
know.
very nice.
Yeah,
Very good.
well done.
It's always kind of a sigh of relief, isn't it? When that gets done?
No doubt.
Yeah, for sure. All right, next under new business, developers agreement. Mike, are you talking about
Yes.
that? All right.
Yes. So I've gone as far as I can with this. I've got the developers agreement pretty much done. There's a few things that are left to occur yet. The original plat, the preliminary plat, was a 13 lot plat. The developer sometime later submitted a kind of a draft. I don't even know if it was a final plat, but it was a 12 lot plat. And now we, at least in talking with Dan Stengel, he recently got word that this is going back to a 13 lot plat. So until we see the final drawings and attach the final drawings to the developer, well, actually we reference the final drawings in the developer's agreement. We don't attach them. We do attach a few of them, but not the main plans. But that plan set is not done yet. So typically what we do is we have our developer submit them, our engineer looks at the plans, the engineer approves them, and if the plans are consistent with the preliminary plat, then we're ready to grant final plat approval with the developer's agreement. So I've got the developer's agreement here. I don't have some of the key numbers in, and I don't know if do you have the developer's agreement in your packet?
No.
No,
Okay, so I
You
don't
have
know
the
if you,
developer here.
pardon me?
Jim is here tonight. If you want,
Developer.
the developer
Oh,
is.
okay. Okay,
That development agreement was sent both electronically and hard copy to Dan Stengel. He has, and going back on the plat is a 12 lot plan, not a 13.
okay,
And Dan Stengel has all 14 copies from Ben Vanderson, the surveyor. And that's what he requested for final plat approval. So he has the drawings that are correct, and he has the development agreement. So he has everything he needs.
so it is the 12 plot. Do you have the 12, Mike?
no, I have a drawing of It's not a final plat, does not labeled final plat. It doesn't have the stuff a final plat normally has, and it shows 12 lots. I don't know if that is the final one. When I talked with Dan, talked with him on Tuesday and talked with him on Wednesday morning, he did not have, he believes he does not have the final plat materials. From what he is telling me, he heard from the surveyor that they are still working on the final lot lines and they are still working on the final lot configuration, and that would be coming. I've got the same indication from the engineer. The engineer does not have final plans. We cannot approve the plat, especially a final plat, without final plans. Now, that being said, this one's a little bit, what I'm proposing in this developer's agreement, the procedure is a little bit different than what you've done in the past. Well, at least what was going to be done with this one. The road was supposed to be finished, at least with the first lift of blacktop. That has not been done yet. I don't think we need to have that done in order to go forward with the developer's agreement and the final plat. We approve final plats all the time without the improvements in. What we do have is a letter of credit requirement, and we don't release the plat until that letter of credit is with the city and the developer, township, excuse me, and the developer's agreement is signed. So the developer can move forward once we get all the final plat drawings, which according to both Dan and the engineer, we don't have. Then at that point, we will end up figuring out what well, at least confirming what the surety amounts are. That's the letter of credit. I have that in here. But until the engineer sees the final plans, we're not sure that's what it's going to be. I think we just need to reconcile where that surveyor is with what the developer is saying, because it is not consistent with what I have heard from both Dan and the engineer.
Okay. Are you talking about Nathan? the
Yes,
engineer?
Yes, and
Yes.
Nathan is here, Mike.
Nathan is here.
Oh,
He should have been
okay.
given a plat drawing. And I again will reiterate, Dan Stengel was given by the surveyor. He dropped them off himself in his office, 14 copies of the final plat,
When was that dropped off?
about 2 to 3 weeks ago.
So if I can ask Nathan, can you tell the town board what I thought you told me regarding the final drawings for the plat?
So I guess I have, on the drawings, I have the as-built of the construction side of things, and then the plat, I have a few copies, because we ended up downloading everything from Warren White, Jim's engineer, and so we have everything, but there's a few different copies of that. I guess what I have is what was submitted to me, but I didn't know if anything had changed. I guess I've been working off of Dan as far as if that's it, or if there's
See
changes.
if this helps clarify. Originally, the plat was 13 lots. I looked at it and made a decision as a developer. That just doesn't happen all the time, but I eliminated one of the lots to make the other lots more desirable, wider, bigger, and more saleable. It's a 12 lot plan.
So if,
I talked to the surveyor about possibly going back to the 13 lot, but after thinking about it, I decided, no, I'm gonna go with my gut on this. People moving into Esko would find the lots a little wider, it's more desirable, there's more room for everything that people want.
Okay, go ahead, Mike.
so when I talked with Dan earlier this week, that his understanding from the surveyor was that they were working on some design changes for a 13 lot plat.
That was only because I inquired with them about sizes so that I could see how much it changed the sizes. But if I had made that decision, I would have been the first one to tell Dan Stengel. He already possesses the plat drawings that are necessary. they're done.
Okay, that would be good.
Yeah.
I will, so do you have an actual final plat that it shows the signature page and everything else? What can we normally have?
Well, I tried to pick them up in the office, but I wasn't, they wouldn't hand them over to me for some
Who's-
odd reason.
And who is the they?
Well, the clerk and the office girl,
Oh, here at the township, you mean?
yes.
We didn't
Okay.
refuse to hand them over. We didn't, I don't know where they are. I don't have them. They're in
Okay.
Dan's office somewhere, I guess,
They
but
then has them in locked up.
Okay, so I think that part we can probably get through. It's just going to be a matter of having Dan see what he's got and confirm that he'll have to look at that 12 lot plat. And I think what he'll do is need to make a recommendation to the town board. If it's different than the final plat, excuse me, than the preliminary plat, we have to make a determination, we meaning the township, of whether it is consistent with the final plat. A lot of times when a lot is dropped, the town board or the city council is comfortable with that and goes ahead. They realize there's a difference between preliminary and final, and they'll approve it as final. But I think
Okay.
we're going to want to see what that looks like.
Dan
And-
Stengel has been well aware of this for many, many months. That we went from a 13 lot to a 12 lot. He's had it, we've looked at it, he had no problem with it whatsoever.
Okay, so from what my conversation with Dan was, he is waiting on your surveyor to get him the new 13 lot plat. So the idea that you're going with the 12 lot is not what he understood. Let's set that aside for a moment. Have you had a chance, Jim, to look at the developers agreement?
Well, yeah, I was involved in designing it.
Have you had a chance to look at the one that I sent?
No, I haven't seen that.
That has not been
Did you
forwarded to
send it?
you?
No, there
Okay.
seems to be a lack of communication here, doesn't there?
I think I saw an email. I don't remember if it was today or yesterday. It was recently that he sent it to you
I look
and
and
he
see,
copied me.
I
so
look
I
to see
saw
if
it.
he communicates with me every single day and every night, and I have nothing.
Okay, if it's still in my email, I'll forward it on to you because he did send it. So I don't know where it ended up, but I'll forward it.
So typically, before the council approves it, we would want you to look at that, excuse me, the town board approves it, we'd want you to look at that developers agreement. And there's a few blanks in there, they're minor, I think we can fill those in. But we want to know that you find that developers agreement acceptable. And then we would have the town board approve it. The town board could approve it now. I don't believe that from a town board standpoint, I would not have you approve a final plat that you don't have in front of you.
No, I need to look at it. You're right.
So I think that at this point, developer's agreement is ready to go. But I need you, Jim, to look at it and tell me what you think. We're going to need to have Dan pull out whatever he's got on those, the drawings. Those are going to have to be circulated. And we'll have to have, ultimately, it'll come back to the council, excuse me, the town board, to have the town board approve this. I believe that could happen at the next meeting. And then it's just a question of how long to get it recorded. That's getting the paperwork all signed and down to the recorder's office. One thing I would need, Jim, that I don't have is some version of a title commitment or a title opinion on the property. So we need to see that it is.
I have that.
Okay.
I have that.
Do you know how?
Here's-
Go ahead.
Okay, what you're saying, I agree with 100%. The only part that I'm worried about is that if it's left to Dan Stengel to set up these meetings to get this approved in the next month, I need to know that's going to be done.
So I would think this could go to the next town board meeting 2 weeks from now. I don't see why it couldn't. The only issue is whether whatever that 12 lot subdivision is acceptable. Again, it's up to the town board. Myself, I don't know that I've seen that drawing, so I can't tell you what I would think of it, but I'm not the main person. I'm a bit player on that side. I'm the developers agreement guy. So I need you to look at the developers agreement. I think on staff level, we can get this set up for the next council, for the next town board meeting. That would be 2 weeks from today, I believe. And at that point, it could be approved if you're good with the developers agreement. If you're not, if there's parts of that developers agreement you want changed, I would need to talk with you about that sooner rather than later. Let's work out whatever those differences may be if we can, and then get that completed agreement in front of the town board. You would need to get a letter of credit from a FDIC approved bank. And that would, we would need that letter of credit before we would release the signed plat.
How do you prefer that I communicate with you?
Email would be great with me. And if you know your email address, if you want to give that to me, that would be good. And I can even get you the developer's agreement tonight.
Okay,
Do you know your email? Tell them your email address.
you want it right now? Okay.
Yes, yep, now would be good.
Kuklis, spelled Kuklis, construction @gmail.com.
Got it. Okay. I'll have that developer's agreement draft in your inbox. You can communicate with me by email. My phone number is in my email. You can call me via phone also.
And what's your email?
You'll get it.
He'll send you an email.
You'll send it to me.
Yep. Yep. You'll get
So
it at
Mike's
that
gonna send you the developers agreement. Nathan, you can get together with Dan and get the 12 plat. Mike. Sound good?
Yep.
All right, let's move.
Very good.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you.
All right, next under new business, recycle shed coverage. It seems as though Irene is gonna be out a little longer than we had first anticipated.
Yeah, when I talked to her, she said it could be up to 8 weeks total. So we are having currently, my boys are out there. It's Liam and Niall. They're out there. They're just splitting her shift between the two of them. If we're gonna continue that way, Leah suggested running it by the union rep. And so we sent him something that we could present in writing. And he hasn't gotten back to us. We sent it on, I think, Monday or Tuesday, and he hasn't gotten back to us yet. So that's where we're at. So I guess we need to decide, we'll have to see what the rep says, but if we want to keep it on the current hours, we need somebody in there. Otherwise it could just be open during office hours and office staff can open and close it up.
Mike, did you have anything you wanted to say about, whether, I don't know that we want to put them on as union employees.
So,
right.
yes, I do have something to say. And first, I need to tell you, I have not had a chance to look at the union contract. It was sent over earlier this week, I believe. I don't have a chance to look at it. The first place to start is with the union rep. My suggestion is that you do not hire somebody unless we know what the procedure is vis-a-vis the union. The reason I'm saying that is because when you have a union employee, you can only terminate a union employee in accordance with the contract. So if you're hiring someone as a temporary, I don't know whether when your regular employee comes back in, what you do with the one you've just hired. I'd like to know that answer before you hire that person. And I think what you may want to, depending on how you guys want to deal with it, one way in my mind would be to punt this out 2 weeks. Another way would be to say, have your office staff open and close it currently. And if the union okays this, and we know that we have a way to not end up having 2 employees when we only need 1, so that we can, in essence, bring somebody on only as a temporary basis, then I think we can go forward before your next meeting, if that's the way you want to proceed. So it would be go ahead and hire conditioned on union rep consenting and making sure that we have a way to terminate that temporary employee and not have to keep them on for some period of time.
Okay,
If
so as
that-
long as we get a letter or an MOU from the union rep, then we can move forward after that. Basically,
Correct.
we're waiting on him.
Correct. And I will get a look at the contract and get you an idea of whether I think there's anything that says, no, we're not going to be able to simply fire this person or terminate them. I mean, it's not at your normal firing or termination. It's basically end of their temporary service. And if the contract lets us end that, that would be great. But I don't have that answer as we sit here today.
Well, and I think we have the flexibility to have the staff open and close. I mean, we might have to close it in this time period for Saturdays because we don't have staff on Saturdays. But if we just did the recycling, the business hours of someone here, might be an inconvenience to some people, but with a sign on the door, I think they could, customers will adapt to that. That's my idea.
Yeah,
Anybody else?
I don't think we have a choice. I think for now, we're just gonna have to have it open when we're here. You can make up a sign and post it for us.
Yep.
Hopefully, is it Tom Whiteside?
Yeah.
Well, hopefully you'll hear back from him. Maybe
Right.
he's on vacation or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll go from there.
The other option is just not to run it at all. We can close it down
Yes, we can.
during this period.
But I like the idea if there is staff here to go over there with the key, open the building. When they're leaving, lock it up.
So it would be unmanned.
Right.
A lot of them are.
A lot of them are. And the ones that have the most difficulty being unmanned is those that are out in the Thule. We're here. And if,
That's true.
yeah, so
All right.
take it away, Compo.
All right, so that's what we'll do.
Thank you, Mike.
So, yes, can I ask for clarification? If the union rep comes back and says it's okay to put someone in as a non-union, I think that answer is going to be no, but if they do, and if we have a way to terminate that temporary position, do you want to hire the people who are proposed or anybody else? Or do you want to wait till 2 weeks to bring this back?
I'd like to wait. I don't know.
Instead of just hiring the two that have
I-
already been doing it, would make the more sense, I think. Otherwise, you have to come up with a letter and you have to come up with a job description and you have to post it for 2 weeks and you have to do interviews and Irene will be back by the time you get somebody in there.
Yeah, considering the fact that we're behind the schedule already.
She's not having
She's
surgery
not having
tomorrow. She
surgery,
had it 3
right,
weeks ago.
it's been done. She's on a recovery. She could be back before we have somebody in place and
So you're suggesting that we just go ahead and hire these two young men
If the union
union
reps,
agrees.
if the union,
right.
it'll probably take till our next meeting.
it might.
All right, well, if that works, I'm not opposed to it
Okay, so yes, Mike, to answer your question.
in a roundabout way.
Yeah, right. For any hirings, we need a motion. Can we have a motion to be a conditional motion to hire temporary until Irene comes back, conditioned on union rep okaying it and there being a way to make sure that we can terminate those positions or those one or two employees, I'm not sure how many, at such time as Irene comes back without additional cost to the township, no penalties or anything like that.
I so move.
A lot of words for you.
Yeah.
There is.
That's why I shortened it.
Yeah.
We've
All
got
right.
it on tape.
I'll second that.
Motion from Gary and a second from Ruth. Any other discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
I
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes.
see we have Nathan on board.
Knocked up a little bit ago.
Hey guys, sorry, I was putting out a couple fires over here, so had to come on late.
Oh, so then when you're on board, then we have to do the roll call. Correct?
Yes,
Do it over.
All right, we'll do a roll call vote on that then. You were here for the motion, right? That Mike
yes.
worded so eloquently for Gary. All right, let's do a roll call vote then.
All right, go ahead, Nathan.
Aye.
Gary
Aye.
and Ruth
Aye.
and Tony.
Aye. All right, moving on to new business, new firefighter approval. We have 3 new firefighters on the department that we're looking for approval. 2 would be full-time members after they get their training done in their 1-year probation. And 1 is a cadet, so that meaning that she's still in high school, and I believe she's 17 right now. So the 3 new firefighters are Josh Muchow. Muchow. It's Muchow, I think is how it's pronounced.
I have no idea how it's pronounced.
And then Wyatt Hubsmith and Lucy Skiffstad be the 3 new.
Well, on Tony's recommendation, I'll make a motion to accept the new firefighters and cadet.
I have a motion from Ruth,
I'll second that.
second from Gary, and just so everybody knows, that will put us at full
Aye.
roster. Yep, absolutely. Which we've been kind of right there the last couple of years, so it's nice to stay that way. So we'll do a roll call vote then on these 3 new.
All right, go ahead, Nathan.
Aye.
Gary,
Aye.
Ruth,
Aye.
Tony.
Aye. That motion passes. So office furniture setup proposal.
Yeah, so we have a proposal in the packet from Innovative to, it's for the furniture and for setting it up and moving things around. So it would be moving Dan's furniture into the empty office and then, new furniture set up, for Leah in Dan's current office.
So we're looking to remodel an office before we hire a person, correct?
Yes.
So that they don't have to sit at a card table in the corner. It's the thought. Not a bad price, really. I don't think.
I'm comfortable with this proposal. We're trying to, we don't really have anybody else submitting a proposal.
Right.
And this certainly looks competitive from that little bit of experience in buying office furniture
Yeah, it's not cheap.
and moving, and the installation in itself is worth almost that much.
Okay,
$7,439.38.
Well, I make a motion that we approve this.
Yeah, I'll second that.
motion from Gary, second from Ruth. Any other discussion? Roll call vote.
Nathan?
Aye.
Gary,
Aye.
Ruth,
Aye.
Tony.
Aye. All right, moving on. We have a resolution governing write-in vote counting.
Yeah, so this resolution is just stating that if we have a few enough number of write-in votes that we don't have to count them. Basically, if it's not enough write-in votes to sway the election in any sort of way, then we don't count them.
Is this something new?
It is.
Okay. Go.
It's a new law that just came out. I don't know if it was this year or last year. What it does is it says, if you've got, let's say you have 3 candidates on your ballot and you have fewer write-ins than the least amount of votes received by, the lowest candidate that's on your ballot, you don't have to account for the write-ins because it cannot change the election. So it just makes it a little easier to count, and most of our cities and townships are adopting this.
Okay, thank you. Having been an election judge, I'm going, when did this Thank you for the explanation.
So don't they have to be counted to know that there aren't enough?
So what I'm thinking, I'm guessing is how this is going to work, but it's machine read. And so you're going to get a machine readout that says, here's how many this, the programmed candidates got, the candidates that filed for a seat. And then you're probably going to get all write-ins. And if that all write-ins number is lower than the lowest named person on your ballot, you can ignore them. You just put down that final number, I believe, rather than how many what the breakdown is for each person that was written in.
I see.
You must have
So
said
the
it correctly,
write-in,
because Tiffany's nodding her head and she was just at training. So
Ah, okay, good. That was somewhat of an
So-
educated guess.
So we need a
the
motion to
write-in
pass.
votes will be, oh, sorry. The write-in
No,
votes
go
will
ahead.
be counted. We're not just, they're just not gonna like account for whose name is written
Yeah,
on.
we won't do the
The write-in
tally
vote?
sheet that
Okay.
says all the different names and how many votes each name, write-in name got.
You mean like Mickey Mouse? like
Right.
we've
Right.
seen
no,
in the
no,
past.
no more Mickey Mouse getting.
No
three
more Donald
votes.
Ducks.
Yeah.
All right, good.
So we'll have a total number of write-ins, but not broken out.
Not broken.
Right.
Yep.
Well, so then I'll make a motion to pass resolution 26-1. According to
Second.
Minnesota statute 204B.
All right, we have a motion from Ruth, a second from Nathan. Any other discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote.
Nathan?
Aye.
Gary?
I,
Ruth?
Aye.
Tony?
Aye. Well, that passes. Next under new business, Randall Avenue contract change order and pay request. Nathan, take it away.
Perfect. So we're finishing up here with Randall Avenue, getting close to the end. Actually, the audit, they showed a significant amount in the sewer balance left to be paid out. That's kind of what we're gonna be addressing here. So there's a lovely spreadsheet that should be in front of you. I know there was a question on just where the budget's at on this project. So I broke down basically everything that you'd expect to see in the life of a contract, from construction, contingencies, engineering services, all the way down, attorney's fees, everything. So I have what I projected and worked on with Beth up front when you guys went and took out the bond with Mike Babani. You remember? So we had a budget of 431,000, took out that bond, and so now getting into the end, I think there's a question on, so we did an increase on our fees, and now we've done one change order and we're asking for a second tier. So now you get to see where all this fits in the budget so that you can make an informed decision on the project. So change order number 2, I worked on this with Logan. This is the final quantities change order. It's a standard end of contract. We always estimate up front how much quantity is planned to be used, and then what's actually used. We always do this change order to sync that up, make sure that you're paying out everything 100%. Your contractor's not owed anything. So there's always a bit of pluses and minuses. Vite did a really good job on this project, keeping within all the quantities. There were 2 disputes here at the end. One of them was class 5 gravel. They came to do gravel this spring, or before paving, and they ended up putting way more quantity on than they anticipated. So Polly came with our survey crew, and it's called blue topping. We tell them exactly how high the road's got to be. And it was 3 inches off from what they anticipated. So they were thinking, the road might have sunk. So there was that. And then there was also asphalt. They went over by 42 tons. So I think I had alluded to this in a previous meeting. So Logan and I got together and kind of looked at where everything's at. We felt that on the class 5, we never had an opportunity to say, pave it slightly lower. It's ditched. The elevation 3 inches probably wouldn't have made or broke that road. So we respectfully rejected that one. But then talking to the contractor on the asphalt, they're over by a little less than 10%. We actually, where the Mr. manholes were installed, they drilled down and we took a measurement. So that's in if you got a chance to review, I have put together a narrative on the change order, based on a common conversion factor over the last 100 years versus newer mixed designs. That conversion factor is pretty key in estimating quantities. And it's just changing. So that's why modern engineers pay by the area, not by the tons. So you don't have to use a conversion factor and fight over it. So so like I said, it wasn't my design, so I have ways around this in the way I do it, but just working with the contract that I had, I'm recommending, and Logan, we came to the same conclusion that we would ask for not paying the gravel, but then would pay this. So the change order would be $6,396.16. So if you look back at the budget, we're within 3% of our bid number, which is really good. 10% is great, 5% is phenomenal, 3% slightly more phenomenal. So, I would ask for approval for change order number 2. And then pay request, I had pay request number 3 in there. They're not asking for the full payment. We're still withholding about $9,000 for all the last seating and items left. So there'll be a 4th pay application.
This definitely has been a marathon project. Nice.
Yes, it has. It looks great. I don't know if you guys have been out there, but it looks great.
I'll drive by there and look.
All right, so we're looking for a motion to approve the change order. Number 2.
I'll make a motion to accept change order number 2. Thing done.
I'll second that.
Motion from Ruth and a second from Gary. Any other discussion on change order number 2? Hearing none, roll call vote.
Nathan,
Aye.
Gary,
Aye.
Ruth.
Aye.
Tony.
Aye. And with change order number 2 being passed, we'll move on to a motion for pay app number 3.
Your turn.
And the amount of what?
$90,480. Does that sound right?
I didn't print that one. So this would be change order. This would be the pay application. And it would be, current payment due $90,480.05.
Just pointing that out. I wasn't sure which number I was looking at.
Sorry, there's a lot of math that goes
A
in.
lot of numbers.
I move that we approve the contractor's application for payment for $90,480.05.
I'll second that.
Motion from Gary, a second from Ruth. Any other discussion on the pay app? Hearing none, we'll do a roll call vote.
All right, Nathan,
Aye.
Gary,
Aye.
Ruth,
Aye.
Tony.
Aye. Passes. All right, move on to personnel reports. Nathan.
Kind of in the same vein, I guess the project is at substantial completion now. The project is being able to be used for its intended purpose. So I was gonna go ahead and sign that. That's just something that's signed by the engineer in the EJCDC docs. But I always just let this, township know if you've got consternation with where things are at, I'll obviously withhold, but just gonna let you all know that that's something that's gonna go through. They do a punch list where they have to do some seating yet, so we'll make sure that's done before we issue the final payment. So the township does have the ability to they have funds to be able to complete the project, if the contractor were not to fulfill their obligations. But right now, it's done this weird rain thing here the past year and a half, where every time they go and get it in good shape, it rains and then just plugs up that bottom culvert. So they're having a heck of a time like getting it to stay there. So they'll just go back and fix it here too. So, and one thing that as you drive through there and you say, oh my gosh, what's that weird thing going on? As the culvert hits Maple and then, goes across the street to that 36 Maple, they kind of pushed the riprap out of the way because it was plugging up so bad there. I don't like the riprap, and we worked with Josh Ritchie, and he's going to use that riprap for the 36 Maple project. And maybe more of it if it's annoying us. Just so you know, we're not going to make them fix it because we're going to use that material. The design was a standard plates requiring riprap, so they put it in. I didn't realize they were going to do that until after it was in. Otherwise, I would have said, let's just not worry about it because that's just something people have to mow around. So, substantial completion. I put a board update for you guys. WLSSD has a new allocation permit. Tiffany sent me. I'll take a look at that. I don't know if you had sent that to Mike too. That might not be a bad idea.
Okay,
Put that
I
in front of
didn't.
Mike.
I will send it.
Okay. Otherwise, Josh has been reaching out to Will, my associate, with questions too. So it's been fantastic that those guys have been working on things. So I'm missing things on my report because those guys are working. But so there was a question on sewer on Corby we've been working through. Will is still working on quotes for potential sewer televising this summer. We've been working on Riverbend, obviously. I've got one of my coworkers, Thomas, working with Logan on the MS4, like we had talked about. And Josh and Will are working on 36 Maple. So if you remember, the sewer's kind of built on or very close to the culvert. We golfed with Joe last week and he said maybe you guys line part of it at some point, but I think the hope is to find a good clear path. I think Josh has talked to the neighbors on both sides about taking some of the trees down because you just can't dig in there without those trees losing some of their anchor roots. So we're gonna have to take down some trees, but now we're working with the DNR because if we move the outlet location, we need a new DNR permit. If we put it back in the same spot, we don't need a permit. So we're working through that. And the DNR gal is on vacation for another week. So more to come. Otherwise, yeah, bridge guardrail replacements. That's something that's been on the past couple, I believe, bridge inspections. So we've been working with Josh to get some quotes for the township on the guardrails are all kind of like terminate in the ground, but the modern design is like a bull nose. So you don't like run over it and Dukes of Hazzard it. Now you would hit it and stop before you go into the river. So we've been working with that. So that's probably enough for me. We've been working on a lot of things.
Well, it sounds like you pretty much covered Josh's report.
Yeah.
That's Josh. So the only other thing you said was that they did push off the chloride a week because they wanted to get a little more gravel down. So it'll be more towards the middle of July.
Just a question for you. How soon are we ready to look at the proposal for the new town garage
So
/ building?
last I checked with Barbara, she said she was adding some, potential space, but then she was pulling together a better estimate for you guys. So I'll check in with her and see if we can't get something pushed to the committee to, or maybe it's just comes here.
Be nice to take a look at it.
Yeah.
You guys have been putting a lot of work into that. We haven't seen anything yet.
Yes.
So my question is, who's technically on the committee that's kind of reviewing the the new public works building and stuff? Just you from the board?
Who else was on it?
I thought,
John,
Logan?
Logan, you, Tony, Leah,
Josh is on it.
Josh would have replaced John. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah,
Just so I know that I'm getting all the right people
Yeah.
when I do get information. Okay. Thank you.
All right, reports from board members. Nathan, we're gonna start with you.
I don't have anything to report. Could tell you about my week here, but
No, thanks.
sounds like a hair raiser.
All right, Gary.
All right. Ruth and I had the opportunity to provide Tiffany with a 6-month performance review on June 22nd as she continues her probationary period. And an inquiry came out of that from Tiffany regarding hourly versus salary. And as I did some due diligence on that, this is a salaried position, so there's no option to go hourly. Just FYI for you, Tiffany. I've also had the opportunity to kind of look at the office staff's job descriptions as we are hiring somebody new, and we've done some hiring recently, and job descriptions are pretty loosely done, if done at all. And I'm just getting into that, quite honestly, but one of the things that I came across is, or we're in the middle of, is hiring this new person. And we don't really have an official job description ready. We have a draft, and it looks like it's almost ready to be approved, but I'm not clear on the process that we use now. Once we have a job description, who reviews that and makes say, yeah, let's do this for the job description and posts for the position.
I think in the past, it's just the board has, right?
The board, the whole board?
Usually we get a chance to review it
Yep.
anyway.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, we're probably close to that,
Okay.
but in keeping with kind of keeping number of balls in the air here, talking to the staff, they are trying to get this office space in place and workable before they get somebody to come in and not have a place to be. And I'm just looking for input and kind of discussion on, can we do 2 things at once here? So when the office space is done, or even before it's done, if we're comfortable with the job description, can we just post it? Start getting some interviews set up, or people responding at least, and get somebody in here and fill this void that we've got.
And have we decided whether we're putting a full-time person on or a part-time person? We haven't even discussed that a whole lot. And we haven't discussed wages for this person. So we're kind of,
Yeah, so all of those things, I mean, the job description kind of lays out a pretty succinct and depth of expectation position. And from a temporary position, I can't believe somebody would take this on as a part-time job. And secondly, we're going to have a challenge if we don't have it set at an hourly rate that's attractive enough for somebody that has all these skills is going to be expected to take it on.
No, last time, didn't we go with a wage range?
we did go with a range.
And I think that's probably what we should do again. No, I don't remember what it was. I don't know if that's something we can look back at.
Yeah, well, I'm not sure, but from the sounds of it, it will be included in the union. So it'll be a union covered position. So it would need to be within the wage scale set forth by the union.
Oh, okay.
So then are you talking full-time person?
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, if their job is gonna be to run the window, they pretty much have to be full-time.
So can you, question to Mike, can you hire somebody part-time and still be union, or do those two match up? A part-time
I-
person?
I
Go.
would, I'm sorry, I would believe you could, but again, we're gonna need to look at the union contract. I assume that's the AFSMI contract?
Yeah.
Okay.
And technically Irene's position is a union position and that's part-time. I don't know what there's a certain number of hours that qualify it as union or not, and I don't know what that amount of hours is, but what we would need for this position would be above whatever that minimum is. Like Elliot's below that amount, but Irene's
If he's not in the
above
union.
it.
He's not union.
Exactly, because he's below that.
Right. Yeah.
Threshold of hours.
Yeah.
So my unfamiliarity with the union contract here is this is a different position. They have administrative, I think, is one of their categories. But is this a specific, it's more specific than administrative? Is it something, I don't have a title for it, but
Right, and so that would be a question that we could bring to the union. Does it need to fall within that wage scale they've already got, or do we create a new wage scale for this new position? And I don't know the answer to that.
so I don't want to get into contract negotiations, but is this just a normal process when something like this comes up? You go to the union and say, create a new position for us? This is not a question for you necessarily, but Mike, in my ignorance here, how do we get a new employee?
Good question, and that's gonna depend on what your union contract defines, and I'm looking at it now, but I don't see it right offhand. It should define what an employee is. Give me just a second, I just want to see if they define that easily or not. A member of the exclusively recognized bargaining unit, so then there's gonna be somewhere a definition of what constitutes that bargaining unit. It's very common for them to have, at least from what I've seen, they'll have a provision that allows you to hire new employees and fit them in. I don't know where that's at in your contract. I'd have to see it.
So are we in a spot where we counsel with you and you look at this job description and say, give us whatever counsel you think is correct, and then we go back to the union and say, this is where we see this, or is this a conversation they have with us and say, you're hiring somebody, this is what their job description says, this is where we think it should be? Or is
So
it
I
gonna
would, at first, I think what we need to do is get our reading of that contract and their reading of it to be the same. You know, do we agree what the contract says and that it covers this position? And if so, we follow the contract. If not, I don't know what we would do until we look at and see why it doesn't, you know, does it not cover that person? In which case, maybe they're a non-union employee, we'd have to see. But the first thing we want to do is simply look at it, contact the union, or have them contact them first, but have us look at it later. Either way, we want to verify what they're telling us, and they're going to want to verify what we're telling them so that we're in agreement. That to me is the starting point of any of this. Are we both reading it the same way?
do we need a job description for that to happen?
I think I don't know that we need a formal job description, but we're going to need to know what that job, what the duties generally are of that job.
Okay, thank you. Well, that puts some context to what we need to do. So we can do kind of two things at once here. We can go forward and start getting this position in place while the office is being developed for it. And hopefully the two will coincide somewhat simultaneous. And that's just, so that's where I'm at with that. Does anybody have any questions for me? Because I'm still thinking this through. There's no motions that have to be made here.
Not yet.
Yeah, not yet.
My
Um,
question is the board open to it being possibly a full-time position? Because originally you kind of had said part-time, but I just want to make sure that, because we in the office feel it's a full-time position. So I just want to make sure we're at least on the same page there, at least open to that.
I would
If the work-
certainly be open to that.
If the work warrants a full-time position there,
I think once we look at the job description as a draft, I think the board can make that decision, but I don't think we're opposed to it
Okay.
if it's appropriate
Sure.
based on the work that's going to be done.
And I would
Sure,
say,
fair
as far as I'm concerned, I'm okay with it being full-time, but not necessarily 40 hours a week.
Okay,
I mean, the whole goal of this position is to have somebody to run the window. They don't need to be here at 8 o'clock when the door opens at 9.
sure.
You know, it isn't like you have, well, maybe you do. Do you have 20 people standing at the door when it opens?
just Tuesday
Not
morning.
typically.
Probably not.
Tuesday morning,
Yeah.
yeah.
Tuesday morning,
So,
why not?
you know what I'm saying? So really that person could work, 9 to 4,
Right.
have a lunch break.
Mr.
Okay.
Chair,
Yes,
if I may, I think I've got a partial answer for you, just looking at the union contract. It covers all employees of Thomson Township who are public employees, excluding road maintenance, utilities, supervisory, and a couple of other like confidential employees. It also excludes temporary/seasonal employees. I'd have to look and see exactly what that temporary definition is. That's probably the one that has a certain amount of hours. But basically what I read that to mean is you hire somebody that is above that, whatever that threshold is, so they're not temporary. They are going to be a union member.
and can I ask you then, does that solve our problem with the recycling shed? Things that would just be temporary?
It may, I think it probably does, but I'm going to want to see what they define as temporary.
Okay, so we'll still wait to hear from Tom. Well, no, we'll be waiting to hear from Tom on 2 things.
Tom is our AFSCME representative.
Got it.
All right, so thank you for that discussion. I've had a couple of citizens come to me since this bad accident on Kansas or the turn on Kangas Road, or the turn on Thomson Road by the Kangas Road. And asking what we might do as a township, realizing it is a county road, to identify that curve more appropriately as a hazard. And I didn't know what to tell them, quite honestly. I said, well, I can advocate, but I think it's a county road.
It is a county road. There is warning sign there. Speed warning, yellow sign, saying
Yeah.
slow down. I don't know what else you can do.
Well, you could do road bumps.
No, not on,
Not on that one.
that's only for stop signs. I mean, up on stops.
Okay.
And that's really not the right place to do the
No,
bumps.
chatter you off the road.
Yeah.
Well, you could do it like 100 yards before to slow them down.
Well, there's some circumstances on that particular accident that no signage in the whole wide world is gonna make any difference.
Well, I understand there's been 3 deaths at that.
In how many years?
Well, doesn't matter how many years,
It doesn't.
deaths are deaths.
Well,
One is too many.
well.
I would be open
I
to
agree.
suggestions, but like you say, it is a county.
Yeah,
county.
so having said that we can advocate, but should we encourage them to go to the county safety committee or go to a
Transportation.
transportation?
Yeah,
Yeah,
at least send them an email and see what they say.
yeah. And speaking of that, I know we didn't get any correspondence, but I got an email today. I don't know if anybody else has had a chance to look at it about the lady slippers.
No,
Am I the only one who had a
No,
chance to look at it?
it was. Go
I
ahead.
got that as well.
Yeah,
Yeah, and I don't know that we can, so the email basically is from one of our constituents, and she has over the years had this plot of lady slippers in the ditch. She didn't plant them, they grew, and lady slipper is a protected species. And generally, from her letter, the township has been careful to mow around it and not cut it down. But this year, for whatever reason, it got cut down and she was disappointed by that and wanted to share that with us. Is there anything that we can do and do we need to do when something like that happens?
Just make Josh aware of it.
I think so.
Yeah.
I mean, should we identify that spot with some sort of a sign or something? So, I mean, it's a lot to expect to.
That sounds like a good question for our attorney. What do you know about lady slippers in the ditch, Mike?
Absolutely nothing.
See how I handed that to you? Cause I don't know either.
Yep, I appreciate it. I agree that if you've got something that's a protected species, putting up some sort of have you seen those fiberglass poles that you can put in the ground to protect your curb or your lawn from snowplows, et cetera, just to mark it, might not be a bad idea. I don't know what the penalty is for cutting down something accidentally that is in some way a protected species, but that would be a good practical way to avoid it.
So, and I don't know what else to do like that, but I don't think it was done with malice. I think whoever was, which is not familiar with that spot. And if it's not marked, what are you gonna do?
Right.
So should I don't need to make a motion or anything. I'll talk to
No.
Josh and see if we can put some stakes in the ground wherever that is and I can respond to the, I can't
Beth.
remember her name. Is it Beth?
That
Beth.
day.
And
Yeah,
let her know that we're working on it. We appreciate
Yeah.
her concerns. All right. And then I've just got one more thing to say, and it's a personal thing. I was at the last meeting we had, Ruth brought forward an idea, and I was incredibly rude to her. And that is something that I regret. And I want to apologize to Ruth personally and to the board for my insensitivity and just silly response. So.
I accept your apology again for the 100th time.
I have apologized. I know that. But it is something I feel very, I just feel terrible about it. Just a bad response from me.
Water under the bridge, Ruth?
Water under the bridge.
All right.
Nothing further from my report.
Okay, Ruth is good. Fire department, yeah, we still had some fire chief meetings where we're talking about the future of the county and what we're gonna do with staffing, but like I said, we're fully staffed, so
Nice.
it's a feel good for us. Yeah, fire, that's all. 3 new members. Yeah, nothing else. Tiffany.
Let's see. So last week, had election training. We got all our election judges out there to be trained. I'll be bringing a list of, election judges that have been trained to get approved, probably next meeting. And, I also went to clerk training that Matt had. It was a free training that they did down in Sandstone. So I went to that, and they just kind of went over, they went over elections, they went over, general responsibilities, they went over like the new quarterly paid leave reporting, and they provided some resources and kind of just went over some other miscellaneous things. And I guess I wanted to bring up, since Josh isn't here, that we did make that offer on the Public Works supervisor and he did accept. So his start date will be next Monday, not next week, but a week from then.
The 13th.
Yeah, July 13th. So, and we ran the background check and that's all good. So.
Cool.
It's exciting.
Very good.
Can I have a
Doesn't make
question about
anything.
that?
Kelly's
Yes.
listen.
So my picnic tables, do I still just need to talk to Josh or do I need to loop the new guy in?
I'll just talk to Josh. That'll be here before we know it too, won't it?
I know.
That's how I've got.
All right, under other, we have reconvened meeting August 18th at 6:30. Filing of affidavits of candidacy for town offices. Seats A, B, and E, all gonna be open. Starts at 9 AM, July 14th until 5 PM, July 28th. So get out there and run for office. Maybe that'd be a good one for Greg. Oh, sir.
Did Mike have anything?
Primary election day is Tuesday, August 11th. Mike, did you have anything else you wanted to chime in on, or are you good?
I don't. I think that's it.
All right, thank you. Thank you for bringing on the screen with us tonight.
Oh, my pleasure.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn. Oh, you made the motion? I'll
No.
second.
Motion by Ruth, second.
I second it.
Second by Gary. Roll call vote.
Nathan?
Aye.
Gary?
Aye.
Ruth?
Aye.
Tony?
Aye. Motion passes. Meeting is adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.
No.
Happy 4th of July, Nathan.
Happy 4th. I'll see you guys at the next meeting.
Oh, good.
Don't have to sign the pay app anywhere.